Jupiter, the fifth planet out from the Sun, is where we will stop to gain a better understanding of our solar system. The largest planet, and compared to the other planets in the solar system, it is significantly larger than all of them. If you want to be notified of new videos, subscribe to AWZ and click the notification icon. Jupiter has a radius of 43,441 miles, which is equivalent to 69,911 kilometers, which is almost 10,000 miles, or 16,000 kilometers, greater than Saturn, which is the next largest planet. It would take 11.2 Earths laid end to match the diameter of Jupiter. It is believed that Jupiter's massive size is responsible for directing the paths of smaller objects within the solar system, either sending comets or asteroids into or away from the inner solar system. When compared to our lovely little planet, Jupiter has a diameter that would require 11.2 Earths laid end to match. Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars are quite near to one another and are within 150 million miles or 249 million kilometers from the Sun. Then there's Jupiter, which had to be totally unique and set itself apart from the other four planets by a distance of around 300 million miles or 482 million kilometers at its closest approach to them. Jupiter is located around 460 million miles, or 741 million kilometers, from the Sun. This distance places Jupiter roughly 5 times farther from the Sun than Earth does. Because of its great distance from the Sun, Jupiter completes one circle around it in approximately 12 years on Earth. Despite the fact that Jupiter has an orbital period of 12 years, the days on Jupiter are significantly shorter than those on Earth. While we dwellers on Earth experience a 24-hour cycle, Jovians only have to endure a day that is 9 hours and 56 minutes long. Why is the cycle now so much shorter? It all comes down to how quickly the planet rotates. However, Jupiter does not have any surface features that may be used to monitor its rotation, and its storms move much too quickly for any precise readings to be taken. Radio transmissions were used by scientists to determine this value, and they based it on Jupiter's magnetic field. It is not totally correct since various portions of Jupiter, such as the equator, revolve at different speeds and have slightly different day cycles than the rest of the planet. Jupiter is one of the 2 gas giants that exist in the solar system. It is mostly composed of hydrogen and helium, with the proportions of these elements being approximately 90:10 respectively. If you tried to land on the surface of Jupiter, you would be sorely disappointed because the scientists consider the surface of Jupiter to be just the point where the atmospheric pressure is at an equivalent to Earth's. Jupiter is one giant gas, and if you tried to land on the surface of Jupiter, you would be sorely disappointed. Jupiter is frequently struck by violent storms. There is a great deal more to learn about Jupiter's giant storms, such as whether or if, in addition to being fast-moving storms, they may also grow to cover substantial areas and be quite destructive. We're talking about expansion that can reach up to a few thousand miles or kilometers broad in only a few short hours. The moist convection that helps drive Jupiter's devastating weather patterns is mostly caused by the planet's own heat source, which may be found deep inside the combination of gases toward Jupiter's core. However, the process is more along the lines of Earth-formed storms. There is no connection between the intense lightning and devastating winds that occur on this gas giant and the Sun. The majority of the planets in our solar system were found by a group of researchers, and they are responsible for their discovery. But there are a few that have any semblance of historical significance. Nobody in the present world can be given credit for discovering Jupiter. Jupiter is one of only 5 planets that can be observed without the use of any specialized equipment. It is believed that the Romans were the first people to give Jupiter a formal name, and they named it after their supreme god and the god of thunder, lightning, and the sky. If a particular name must be connected to the finding of something, although Galileo Galilei was the first person to glimpse the planet through a telescope, he cannot strictly be credited with the discovery of Jupiter. However, upon inspection of the giant planet, Galileo did come onto several interesting qualities when he was groping around. In the early 1600s, Galileo discovered 4 astronomical objects revolving around Jupiter's moons. These 4 moons were later given the names Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto in honor of Galileo's discoveries. The Galilean moons are a collective name given to Jupiter's moons that have been determined to be the largest. The discovery was significant for those who were interested in Jupiter, but it also marked a turning point in how people viewed the solar system. Whereas it was once believed that everything in the Ptolemaic world system revolved around the Earth, the Galilean moons demonstrated that celestial bodies could orbit other objects in space. Despite the fact that Galileo claimed ownership of 4 of Jupiter's moons, he was unaware that there were additional moons waiting in the wings. In point of fact, the brilliant astronomer had not even come close to discovering all of the moons around the gas giants. There are a total of 67 satellites that are known to be circling the Earth, but given that the most recent one was found in 2011, there is a possibility that there are even more. The diameters of the moons range from a meter 1.2 miles or 2 kilometers on the smaller end to a staggering 3,273 miles or 5,268 kilometers on the larger end. There are 51 satellites that circle Jupiter that are believed to be irregular, which means that they were not generated in the orbit itself, but rather were caught while they were orbiting Jupiter. Out of all of Jupiter's 67 moons, Ganymede is the one that seems to stick out the most. At a distance of 3,273 miles or 5,200.68 kilometers wide, it is the largest known moon in our solar system. This likely contributes to the fact that it leaves the most profound impact. The size of Earth's moon is roughly comparable to that of Ganymede. This enormous Galilean moon is so big that it's the 8th largest object in the solar system, ranking only behind Mars and just in front of Saturn's moon Titan. It's the 8th largest object in the solar system since it's so big. The purported presence of a saltwater ocean approximately 124 miles or 200 kilometers underneath Ganymede's surface is one of the moon's more intriguing characteristics. We had a quick discussion on the intense weather patterns that Jupiter sees. You wouldn't initially imagine that one of Jupiter's storms could endure upwards of 300 years, but that's exactly what's happening in this gas giant's atmosphere. Jupiter's storms are extremely destructive. The voyage of Voyager 1 in 1979 captured the first images ever taken from such a close distance of what is now known as the Great Red Spot. Despite the fact that the first recorded observations of the storm stretch all the way back to 1665, there is much conjecture on whether or not these earlier discoveries were the same. However, it is common knowledge that the present location has been the subject of investigation since the year 1830. The storm is still producing extremely high winds that are clocking in at above 320 kilometers per hour or 200 miles per hour. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss another video.